check in with Brad Powers, college football handicapper at Brad Powers 7 on social media. You can catch him on the Bet the Board podcast tomorrow, and just follow him on social media. He'll point you in the right direction. Real quickly, Brad, we got a game kicking off momentarily. The Toppers, Western Kentucky, catching 4.5 against Liberty. Anything worth playing in this one?
Yeah, I took Western Kentucky, just power ratings play for me. Let's go ahead and do a comparison of recent opponents for both of these teams. They both played at Jacksonville State here in the last 2 weeks. Liberty played at Jacksonville State, was a 7-point road favorite. Just last week, Western Kentucky was a 7.5-point road favorite at Jacksonville State. So yes, you got to factor in the results of those games, but not enough to say that Liberty is 6 or 7 points better than Western Kentucky on a neutral when the market just said Western Kentucky was a half-point better by recent data points. So if that all makes sense, that's why the power rating said Western Kentucky tonight.
And Brad won't say it, but he also weighed in the helmets. He told us that, but he won't say it.
Yeah.
He's a pro, so he won't say
helmet
something.
plus minus, I think, is exactly what you said. So.
All right, so we're on the Toppers. That game about to kick off there. Let's go to Salt Lake City. Game of the week, Utah hosting Oregon. We saw this number steam all the way up to Oregon 7. Today, we've seen some buyback come into the market at 6.5, total around 49. What did you make this game, Brad, and is there any angle you're looking to attack in Oregon, Utah?
Yeah, I lean towards the Ducks here. I have bet Oregon in this game. I'm not sure that Utah, even though they found a little bit of offense recently in the last couple of weeks, thanks to Sione Vaki, a converted strong safety that they've used out of the backfield, throwing it to him, making him run. He's been a very explosive player. I'm just not sure that they can keep pace with a powerful Oregon offense. Kudos for what obviously Utah did on the road against a powerful offense in USC. The difference is Oregon plays defense. USC doesn't. I know it's not ideal to lay points in Salt Lake City, but I think Oregon's a side here.
One of the more interesting games, at least I think, is Oklahoma on the road against Kansas. We saw the Sooners get through a sleepy spot against UCF. Dave, a two-part question here. First off, just general thoughts on the game with the Jayhawks catch 10 at home. And at this point, is there a difference considering how much Bean has played between him and Jalen Daniels from a point spread perspective? How much is it?
Yeah, good question. So I'll answer the latter. There's still about 1.5, 2 points. Okay. Bean's a little bit more turnover prone worthy compared to Daniels, at least historically. So there's that. And Daniels is just a little bit more explosive, even though Bean's pretty mobile as well. So there's still a little bit of a difference there. As far as the game value-wise, I haven't bet it yet as far as this week. Obviously, I bet it in the summer. Hopefully, I can get a winner there at a good number on Oklahoma. But I think you're right. Oklahoma had their sleepy spot last week. I think they're fully focused this week. I'll still lean towards the Sooners minus 10.
We're talking to Brad Powers. Joins us every week in this spot at Brad Powers 7 on social media. Bet the Board podcast. We were just going through some potential letdown spots. And, of course, Ohio State is on the list. They, beat Penn State 20-12, impressively doing so. Now they go on the road to Camp Randall, night game. But, we've seen Wisconsin have its struggles this year. Tanner Mordecai out for the season. Number sitting at 14.5, touched as high as 15. Is Ohio State a fade here, or do you think Wisconsin just can't get anything going offensively against that defense?
Yeah, I don't think Wisconsin can get anything going offensively. I know they did in the fourth quarter, much to the chagrin of anybody that backed Illinois, at least later in the week last week. That was rough, to say the least. Locke, the freshman quarterback, against that Ohio State defense, are you kidding me? I think it'll be turnover prone worthy there. And even if Ohio State's a little bit flat, I think they can get margin here. I didn't bet it at 14.5, 15. Another game I bet in July, this one, but I do think Ohio State's the right side.
Oregon State, Arizona. What do you make of this? 3.5 on the road against Wildcats, total of 56.5. I think it's kind of a sell-low spot personally, or sell-high spot for the Wildcats, but what do you say?
Yeah, wow, I'm chalky on this segment this week. Yeah, I like Oregon State here, especially at that 3 number. I'm not surprised that there's some money coming in on Arizona, considering how impressive they've been their last 3 data points. Washington almost upset them, should have beaten USC, and then obviously crushing Washington State. But I just think that has the attention of Oregon State. Oregon State's off a bye. Oregon State's, really balanced offensively. And I'm not sure that Arizona can take advantage of Oregon State's defense as far as the pass game goes, like some other teams have. So Oregon State for me, especially at that 3 number.
Brad, I saw you taking shots at yourself last week. I didn't like to see that because you gave out a winner on this show. Your best bet on this show, under Ohio State, Penn State. That was a rocking chair. Easy victory there for anybody who took that. So right now, looking at the board based off your numbers, where are you headed for your favorite play as of right now on a Tuesday night?
We're going to take a huge underdog that nobody wants to bet. That's fine by me. We're going to take Vanderbilt plus 24.5 against Ole Miss. I know Vanderbilt has lost 6 straight games coming into this one, but you know what? They are 6-0 to this number. They have not lost a game in that 6-game stretch by more than 24 points. And I mean, they played Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Missouri. They played some legit teams. I think they needed a bye desperately. They got the bye last week to get a little bit more rested and healthy. Now, they might be missing one of their best defensive players in CJ Taylor, but I still like Vanderbilt here to get, I think it's actually going to be a close game, like it was last year. Let's just hope Lane Kiffin doesn't run up the score in the final couple minutes like he did in the Vanderbilt game last year.
Or in the Tulane game earlier this year, if you had, or the Georgia Tech game. It is, Lane enjoys doing that. What did you, because we have a bunch of quarterback injuries. I want to get to this with you and what you've done in your power rankings. And the biggest one right now, the AC joint sprain for Quinn Ewers. How much of adjustment have you made for Texas with them going to Malik Murphy?
3.5 points, maybe 4 points. Maybe it sounds a little light. I'm not a guy that's super aggressive as far as the power rating. I guess I wasn't because I kind of want to bet on them this week because I hate the BYU team that they're facing. I got in front of the number because I don't think the opener had it factored in that obviously Ewers wasn't going to play, but I'm actually looking towards the Texas side. I think with a week to prepare, I think Malik Murphy's a pretty good, outstanding talent. Didn't do much in the Houston game. It was late in the game. He led the 1 touchdown drive, but I mean, if you watch the spring game, this is a very talented quarterback, somebody that a lot of schools were wanting to get and were hoping to get him transferred out of Texas since he wasn't going to be the starter. So I think you see pretty good quarterback play from Texas this week.
So we're obviously reaching the point where a lot of teams are achieving bowl eligibility. You get some teams that achieve it for the first time in a long time. So how do you handle some of those? Like one of them is UNLV, right? First time that they're bowl eligible since 2013. Is it a letdown to go on the road to then the defending conference champion Fresno State? How do you handle a team like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. It doesn't factor in necessarily with this particular instance as far as I'm concerned, UNLV, because they're in the chase for a conference championship at this point. I mean, they've only lost to Michigan. I mean, they've been super impressive. With that being said, I like Fresno. Although, let's keep an eye on the Fresno quarterback situation. I'm not sure that Mikey Keene's going to play, but even if he doesn't play, I actually lean towards Fresno here.
Another game staying in the Mountain West that I was curious to get your thoughts on, because I initially put it in kind of the letdown spots because Air Force is, just played Navy. They've got Army next week. But this is a rivalry game against Colorado State. Air Force is tremendous stopping the run, but Colorado State doesn't really want to run the ball. They want to throw it around. Pretty big number for Colorado State to be catching at home. We know after Troy Calhoun lied to us, their quarterback will be playing in this one. What do you make of this number, Colorado State catching 12 at home against Air Force?
Yeah, I don't see much value. I'm not running the window to bet Colorado State, to be honest with you. I think that data point a couple weeks ago, the Boise State game where they're losing by 20 with 5 minutes left, and they somehow find a way to win the game. Maybe giving a little bit of value towards the Air Force side, at least early in the week before guys like myself bet Air Force. You're right, it is an important rivalry. So I don't think Air Force is unbeaten. They're thinking about bigger picture here, bigger bowl games. So I don't think they overlook Colorado State. I'm a meat and potatoes type of guy. Line of scrimmage, I think Air Force dominates the line of scrimmage.
Real quick, are they quitting in Clemson? What's going on? What do we do with the Tigers? Dabo after throwing Cade under the bus, probably has these guys ready to go, right?
Yeah, I think so. I laid it with Clemson this week. They'll be more than I think they'll cover this week, and they'll be pretty pumped up next week when they welcome in a team from South Bend.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.